Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about yesterday, which was Sunday. I went to go see Bob Dylan, the Bob Dylan movie, which is The Complete Unknown. And, for a movie that didn't have a lot of like sex and overt sex scenes and violence and drugs and alcohol, it was pretty powerful. There was a lot of like hurts, habits, and hangups that just kind of came up, almost like you feel like vomiting these issues. For example, there was I don't even know I don't I'm trying to remember what the scene was, but it didn't take me out of the movie, but it made me immediately think of caregivers. And it wasn't the scene with Woody Guthrie. He meets Woody Guthrie, and Woody Guthrie comes out several parts in the movie. Woody Guthrie had Huntington's disease, which is inherited, and it basically is kind of like a form of dementia, but it affects both you or the person physically and mentally, and you could see his physical decline. It was pretty sad, and but it wasn't that. It was I don't know what the scene was, but it just made me think of my cousin has a younger daughter in her 30s now, who was born uh, with some deformations of the feet, and some autism, severe autism. So I think it was a scene where Bob Dylan is composing music or something to that effect, and it just made me think of my nephew, because he one of his ambitions is to be a songwriter and play guitar, and not necessarily folk singing, but he, for a very long time, for many years, had to take care of his sister as a teenager, as a young adult, like in his early 20s, and he had to carry her, and he had to change her diaper, and it just I just took a moment to pray for him and for the caregivers, because it must be, I know how difficult it is to caregive for mom, and mom had a stroke a year ago, and thank God, thank you Lord Jesus, and thank you Jehovah God, because it she's getting better. She has a lot of mobility back. She's still bedbound, but I can help her get up once a day at least for like 4 or 5 hours. But I do have to change her diaper. But to be a young man and to have to be changing your sister's diapers, boy, that's tough. Boy, that's talk about humility, man. That's the one thing that came out of that movie Conclave. And I understand there's some debate about it and this kind of fictitious, but the humility that people that go into that kind of profession, spiritual profession, um, I kind of felt that yesterday, kind of switching subjects, because I went, first of all, the night before I hadn't had really lunch or dinner. And I guess I might have hit ketosis because I woke up. I only had, I'm back with video games, okay. Uh, AFK Journey, which is kind of neat, but it's not very good. But, I went to sleep Saturday night around 12:30, I think. And I felt really bad because I wanted to wake up early in the morning to go to Eastside Christian Church because they had been doing an altar call. I listened to the YouTube live video, and um, Satan won. I guess it was the easiest way to say it. He entertained me, and I felt so ashamed. I felt weak. I went to sleep, and I was like, "Sorry, Lord, I'm not gonna get up." And the reason I mentioned not eating is because all of a sudden it's like 7:30 in the morning. I wake up, and I'm like, I thought it was 11 or something, and I'm like 7:30 a.m. and it's Sunday, right? So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm up. Let's go. Slap Satan in the face. So I showered, shaved, and went out there, and was able to help them with the altar call. I'm on the pastoral care team. We're volunteers that were trained, very well trained, lengthy training, uh, and there was probably like a dozen people there. So when Pastor Gene said, come up, and we got these people that are going to help you pray. Just tell them two things you want release from. He's doing a wonderful series on basically mental illness and how you can see that in throughout the Bible. And it's called Weeds in Our Garden, based on the song by, I forgot her name, but last name was Inky. I think she was in the 17th season of The Voice. And it's a powerful song, Weeds in My Garden. And, from a Celebrate Recovery perspective and the kind of songs we listen to, that's definitely a song for Celebrate Recovery. And basically she says, I give you roses so you won't see the weeds in my garden. She talks about her hurts, habits, and hangups. But I went and just people came up and they were, they just wanted release from a lot of anxiety and stress. I'm glad I was there, and I felt the humility, their humility, as well as me having to humble myself enough to be there and listen and pray. It's one thing to listen to someone when they're pouring their heart out, and they were. But to have to then compose yourself enough, and I was crying. I was crying. I mean, some of this stuff was unbelievable, and compose yourself to be able to pray for them. But wow, it was just powerful. I could see how Jesus was crying at the tomb of Lazarus, and so then from there I went to go visit a friend who was at a nursing home, and it was nice. I'm glad I had the day off, because it's been with the fires. I have not been going even outside to throw away the trash. My sister's been doing that. We've been indoors, and I've had all the air filters on, and the Holy Spirit has really helped me, because I would think I would have gone super stir crazy. And I've just been kind of binging on TV shows. OJ People versus OJ with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Shogun and a couple of other things. And again, just a little bit of the AFK Journey, which is an MMORPG open world video game. So it's just kind of neat to pass the time. The PS5 games there's a ton of them. I got the PS5, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. It's different. But anyways, I ended up going to see Bob Dylan movie, and it was pretty good. And again, going back to that, the relationship touched me. One woman, one of the love interests, tells him, Joni, folk artist, very famous, tells him, you're a jerk. And I'm like, he hasn't done anything. I think I understood where they were going with that scene, but I think it could have been a little bit more clear. But, he was almost kind of like a Mozart. He could compose in his mind, just have it come out, And, but it touched me because it felt, again, the relationships. One, he was playing, it seemed like he was playing two girls. It's like when he was with one, he was, on the road, he was with one woman, and when he was home, he was with another woman. It's like, that's not fair, that's not right. But, I understood the relationship, wanting to have somebody, having to want someone stable to be there at your side. And it just didn't seem like he could do that. And I don't know. I guess just what I think, I don't want to say appealed to me, but what I related to the most was just this being in a point in your life where there's just uncertainty. And with Mom, I don't want her to pass away. I keep telling Jesus, I know I hate caregiving, and I know I hate having to go take her to the restroom, change her diapers, but give me the humility to keep going. Pastor Rick, when I was at my lowest, I was listening to his podcast, Daily Hope, and he said, just when I was praying, just as soon as I finished praying to Jehovah, I said, I can't do this anymore. I need to stick her in a nursing home. Pastor Rick says, I think it was Psalm 71:16, I think. And it was a particular translation, because if you look it up in other translations, it doesn't say that. But it says, I walk in the strength of God. And it was just like, man, it was powerful. It got me through the day. And, I take notes of mom using the restroom, whether she was able to go, and constipated and blowouts and things like that. So I can talk to the doctor about things. And the next thing I know, it's like a month later, and I'm like, wow, he got me through a month. And now it's been probably close to a year. So I'm just grateful for that, But after the movie, I went to Costco, and I spent, if you know me, I'm very particular about things, but I spent half an hour looking for the right flower arrangement at Costco, because my friend's mom passed away, so I wanted to get her some flowers. But I actually got 3 different bouquets, and I figured mom had enjoyed in her youth a little bit making flowers arrangements. She took a class at Rio Hondo College, and I said, mom will enjoy that. And so I brought it to mom, and it was 3 or 4 arrangements, and they were like close to $50. It's a lot of money for me, a lot of money. And on the way to take it in the evening to my friend, I say, hey, you guys are there because I want to drop these off, and I don't want them getting stolen if I leave them outside. And she's like, well, we're Chinese, and we have traditions and superstitions, so don't bring it. And I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. And I'll go, okay. But she appreciated the thought. And she said, why do you want to bring them? And I go, because it's important to me. Because when my dad died the next day, I was still in. First of all, I felt responsible for my dad's death, so that didn't help. And then he had basically been, tortured to death for 2 days straight. He had the delirium, which was a unholy, cursed, disease. And I was next to him, hearing him, just like hearing him being tortured. And my best friend from elementary school, a lifelong friend since elementary school, like second grade, a long time. He calls me up, and it was a bit out of character for him, that he said, hey, Johnny, my godson, is coming, and he's going to give you flowers on behalf of, I bought flowers, for you and your mom. And I was thinking, I know who's speaking, but it's like, what's going on? Who's this again? Because I couldn't believe it. And just about then, my godson pulls up and he goes, hey, Nino, my dad bought you some flowers, our condolences. And, I don't remember the flowers, but I remember the thought. And, the witnesses were not there for me. They really dropped the ball. And I think that was Jesus, so that I would get frustrated with them and walk away from that denomination and go back to Celebrate Recovery. And but it meant a lot to me to be able to do this for her, because her mom passed away. And it just felt, I'll be honest with you, it felt a little bit of a betrayal. It's like, I've spent 30 minutes at Costco plus all this money, and you don't want the flowers, but that's okay. I'm going to share them between mom and my 2 neighbors, my 2 elderly neighbors. So, some good will come out of it. But anyways, just wanted to give you an update on what happened yesterday. And if you get a chance to see the Bob Dylan movie, strap yourself in, because it could be triggers, especially if you're, into alcohol. There's a lot of alcohol drinking, but it doesn't come across to me as a non-alcoholic drinker, as abuse. Just they're drinking, it's a thing to do at the nightclubs, I guess. But the relationships, and it's pretty powerful, especially if you're a caregiver again. I don't think I was triggered by the scenes with Woody Guthrie, although there was one scene where he's in his room at the nursing facility, and the roommate is in a coma. And I've been, when I would visit hospitals, there would be people in coma. So I remember a few of them, and I pray for them. And so it's nothing super triggering, but obviously it can be. So anyways, enjoy your day, enjoy your week. God bless you, and hope the air quality is good where you are.